Thank you very much for this opportunity to interview you. You are Amy Erickson,
Yes.
Vice President of PPG, and Marcio Grossman, Gerente Geral de América do Sul. So they are responsible of South America. I have some questions for Amy and also for Marcio. You can respond. You can choose who can respond. Okay. The first one is history and tradition of PPG. You were and you are a very diversified company, but in the late 90s, you saw the coatings sector as the best business opportunity. Now you are number one in the coating industry. What are your insights for the next year?
For the coatings industry?
Yeah, for the coating industry.
Well, I mean, there was some logic to the changes that PPG made to focus on coatings because it's such an attractive sector. Coatings are used in so many different end markets. It's a good way for us to be able to touch a lot of the end segments around the world. It's also pretty high growth, and it offers the opportunity to differentiate. So there's a lot of performance that happens from coatings, a lot of protection from coatings, a lot of functionality from coatings, and we decided let's put our money in coatings, and we're good at the technologies that the coating sectors need.
That's amazing. And the perspective just for South America?
Yeah, well, as Amy mentioned, the fact that we supply many different end user market, that gives us resilience, very important resilience for this business here. If you take in consideration during the pandemic, we saw automotive OEM demand in the world going down, automotive refinish demand going down as well. But at the same way, we saw the demand for canned food going up, we saw the demand for appliances going up, we saw the demand in Brazil for everything that's related to agriculture, machinery going up still very strong in Brazil. So that dynamic in the market, that some businesses are suffering more with the pandemic, but some of them having opportunities in reality, really help on balance the business and give the resilience we need for this business. And I would say if we look ahead, I think we're very optimistic about this year in the region. We start seeing some growth in other areas that didn't perform that well during the pandemic, but now start recovering in the region as well. So I think the perspective for the year ahead is very good.
Yeah, thank you very much. What are the investments of GHP coating capacity in the Latin region that PPG will announce at Latin Camp?
So when you say GHP, do you mean BPA, bisphenol A? We're trying to figure out what GHP is.
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to answer from a Latin American perspective?
Yeah, well, we start seeing some increasing demand for non-bisphenol in the region. I would say, despite of the fact that we don't have a specific legislation in Latin America still about this, the increasing awareness of consumer awareness. I will start again.
Yeah, no problem.
So we start seeing an increasing demand on non-BPA products in the region. And despite of the fact that we don't have specific legislation in the region about the usage of non-BPA products, we start seeing increasing consumers' awareness about food safety and environmental and concerns. So that demand is pushing. So it's not legislation driven, but start seeing the consumers demanding products that are safer and that delivers better environmental footprint.
Yeah, and I think I would add to that we already have the technology for non-BPA. We are leading in the global market in terms of non-BPA technology inside of the beverage can. So we have the technology. It's a matter now of making sure that we have the production facilities, the distribution capability. One of the benefits of being part of a larger PPG is that we already have that footprint. So right now we are investing to expand in Europe. We are investing in the United States, in Asia Pacific, and Marcio will talk about what we're going to do here in Latin America.
Yeah, we start project investment in Sumaré, where we have our main site here in Brazil. The idea is to have capacity now in the beginning of 2023 to supply half of the demand that the region might need in terms of non-BPA products. Right now we're ready to supply importing products if the market needs, but our plan is to have local production, local sourcing for the regional market.
Perfect. It's amazing that your company go ahead of the legislation in Brazil, for example. So it's very good because when this legislation came through, you already accomplished.
So the history of non-BPA, we've been supplying non-BPA for 10 years.
10 years.
Around 10 years. So
amazing.
in 2014 is when France decided to ban BPA, bisphenol A.
France is, sometimes France is the first.
They were a leader, and then also California put restrictions in. And so we've been converting in US and in Europe, and actually some here in the Latin America region when global brands want the non-BPA and we're exporting to either the US or EMEA. Also, we're starting to see Asia turn as well.
So that's amazing that you are focusing in, or you care the nature and so on, so you try to do better. Okay, next question is, could you explain in detail the advantage of PPG in Novel Pro, the new and improved version of its industry-leading BPA-free virgin can coating?
Yeah, okay. So Innovel Pro is what you're asking about. So I wouldn't say it's new. It's really an enhancement to our leading platform. So Innovel, we've been supplying it, as I said, for about 10 years. But like with any first generation technology, this was first generation non-BPA, there were some gaps we needed to fill. It already was the lowest migration coating, so the best in terms of safety and in terms of protection of the consumers, better, quite frankly, than epoxy or any of the epoxy mimics that are out there. But we needed to work a bit on its robustness, so how it sprays, how it runs in the line, and we have figured it out. And we have something that runs like epoxy, but it is truly non-BPA. So we're very excited about this. So is the industry. We've started converting the industry, and we'll continue to do that.
Perfect. Great. Okay, the iSense line of specialty in overcoats like matte, satin, tactile, preferred by can makers around the world to differentiate themselves on the market. What is the current demand of this product?
What is the current demand?
Yeah, more or
Well,
less.
so Marcio is supplying quite a bit of it.
Yeah.
It's a huge part of your business here, so why don't you speak to that?
Yeah, in Latin America, I would say 1/3 of the over varnish we sell now is special finishes. Right, so there is an increasing demand for small breweries, premium products. That's always on the shelf differentiation for them. So we're seeing an increasing demand for that. I would say around 1/3 of our sales now coming from special finishes in this market.
Yeah, it's very it's really consumer driven. People want to identify with how the can looks, what its shape is, what its finish is, and brands in particular are finding it's a great way, using specialty coatings. It's a great way to separate themselves on the shelf, right? It's an eye catcher, and so again, we're doing that everywhere globally, but it's a big part of our Latin American product line.
Okay, perfect. PPG industry investment in R&D around 500 million per year. In what areas are focusing on now this investment?
So the 500 million is the corporate number.
Yes.
And oh boy, we have, I think we have 11 technology platforms across all of PPG. Things like corrosion, color, but
Yes.
there are 11 of these platforms that every business unit can access. And so specifically for the packaging business, our technology is focused obviously on protection from corrosion. That's really
Yes.
important.
Mhm.
And also ensuring the safety of our coatings, ensuring the safety of consumers from the metal packaging itself. So all of our investments are around protection and sustainability, be that materials of concern or being able to lightweight or provide higher solids, which is more beneficial from a greenhouse gas perspective.
Perfect. And the last question, do you have a new investment proposal or in which countries? I guess you already said more or less.
Yeah, so you want to speak?
We're making this new investment on packaging business specifically. We're
Yes.
making this new investment now. We expect to be ready by beginning of 2023 to supply the local market with the non-BPA products. I don't know if you want to talk about global.
Yeah, so what we're seeing in particular in packaging, especially on the beverage side of the house, is real secular growth that's happening because people are understanding the recyclable benefits
Yes.
of the aluminum can. And so more and more new beverage categories are being launched in aluminum. So the growth on the beverage side of our industry is mid-single digits, in some cases a little bit higher, and it's expected to continue. So if you look at the major beverage can makers in the world, in every region, they're investing in new can making capacity to meet that demand. And so consequently, we have to invest in our coatings capacity in order to meet their demand. So we're doing it in every region, and it's not just about inside of the can, it's also the over varnish, because it all goes together,
Yes.
and also easy open ends. So we are investing in capacity expansion. I think we're very smartly using PPG's manufacturing network around the world, so we can be most cost effective in our expansions. But it's an exciting time.
And also the purpose compared to the plastic packaging is the metal packaging is
More sustainable.
yeah, so
Absolutely, and I think more and more the public is understanding.
yes.
And I see it in my own children. I mean, they will choose aluminum over plastic for that very reason.
Yeah,
So,
that's right.
yeah.
In Spain, we have some example that there are companies that they are packaging things like wine or so on, that
Yes.
they choose can
Yes.
instead of glass or
Exactly.
of course plastic.
Exactly.
So it's a very good.
It is. It is.
Okay, thank you very much for your attention, and I hope you spend a very good time in this Latin Camp Brazil, and hope to see you soon in other ferry, and could interview you to ask you new things about your company, okay?
Absolutely. We've got a lot of new great things going on, not just in beverage, but in food and personal care. So we'd be
Perfect.
happy to speak with you whenever.
So we are happy to announce to the world your new your news.
Terrific.
Thank you very much.
Terrific.
you.
Thank you.
Right.